Hey everyone, welcome to Redeemer and this Wednesday reflection. In an earlier reflection, I talked to you about summertime and kind of the letting things be casual and slow, and the joy that can bring to your heart and your health and your well-being. So, if we are taking time to find the slower parts of our day or week and enjoying them to bring us closer to God and to help us reflect upon God, I would also today like to challenge us all, you and me both, to spend some of that casual time reaching out to others. Um, a few separate occasions, unrelated to one another. Um, I had heard from people who either hadn't been able to come to church for personal reasons, family reasons, scheduling reasons, who had been absent from our parish daily life for a while. And while some had been, contacted by friends in the parish and said, hey, we're wanting to check on you, we've missed you. Others had felt that maybe because they didn't have a best friend that was in the pew every Sunday, that they hadn't been reached out to, that they had been absent from church for however long, and no one had said, "Hey, I recognize we haven't seen you in a while. How are you doing? Are things okay with you?" And I try my best to reach out to those people as well. But I think we are a family united as people of Redeemer. So I just wanted to put that out there that your neighbor in your pew, who may or may not have come to church recently, has asked for others to reach out and just check and make sure they're okay, to let them know that their absence has been noticed, and that others aren't just writing them off as, well, if they're not going to come, I'm not going to worry about them. Um, I think it's important, for us all to remember that uh, our job as Christians and our job as friends, whether we are intimately acquainted with someone or only casually acquainted with someone, is that our job is to challenge those people to reconnect and to challenge ourselves to go into those conversations. When I was a chaplain at a hospital during my time in seminary, one of my jobs was to um, be a presence and be a chaplain for different areas of the hospital. So the oncology wing was part of my daily routine. The rehab hospital across the street was a part of my daily routine. The hospice center was a part of my regular rounds. And so when I wasn't called to a specific patient's room because they had requested a chaplain or requested someone to talk to, I had to essentially go down, both sides of the oncology wing, for example, and knock on people's doors who may or may not be napping or having other visitors or other care being given to them by hospital staff. I had to essentially make cold calls and just knock on people's doors and ask them, hey, how are you doing? Do you want to talk? Can I pray for you? Those kinds of things. Now, keep in mind, I was not dressed like this when I was making these calls. I was wearing, just an Oxford shirt and some slacks. And so, some people, loved having someone come in to visit them and have a face to talk to. Others did not want a chaplain to come visit or did not want to be disturbed. They just wanted to sleep and get better and go, and that's great. I did not care for cold calling people. It was a challenge for me, and so I knew coming into a ministry profession that cold calling people was going to be a growing edge for me and something I needed to challenge myself to do and leap into and give myself some more encouragement to do. And there are times where I find randomly calling people and asking them how they're doing is easy as breathing. And there are times where I find it, for some reason, very hard to do. So if you're feeling like reaching out to someone that you may or may not feel comfortable with, just randomly calling, trust me, I feel it too. I am not immune to those feelings. And so let's just take a minute to think of someone who you might say, oh, I haven't seen them come to church in a while. Well, then that is maybe God saying to you, well, you have recognized someone, you now are challenged to reach out to that person. So don't just always assume that, the same regular people that you always think of as reaching out to, persons X, Y, or Z, like, oh, well, so and so will take care of it. No, challenge yourself to be that person. Give someone a random phone call and just ask them how they're doing. Say, hey, I haven't seen you or I haven't seen your family coming in a while. I think that would be a really loving, beautiful gesture. And if they don't care for that conversation, if maybe they, would rather just kind of have some quiet time to themselves and not be entertained or reached out to by someone in the church, they'll let you know, and you don't have to feel bad about that or whatever it is whatever happens. But the thought, the idea that someone that they didn't realize was thinking about them and loving them really does wonders for the soul. It's kind of like getting a random thank you card in the mail, and that's kind of a tradition that doesn't happen as much these days. But whenever we receive a lovely handwritten note in the mail, it really does spark joy in our hearts. And the same can be said with a phone call, especially to someone who hasn't come around. And I'm not merely talking about members of our church who are homebound or for medical reasons don't get out as much. I'm talking about those loved ones as well, but also people who are, going about living their regular active lives but aren't coming around as much. Let's all, you and me, make a point to reach out to those individuals more often. Because it's easy for us to think that, oh, well, someone else is already taking care of that person. But if a thought has come across your mind that you haven't seen someone in a while, maybe you should reach out and let them know that you have been thinking about them. That's my thought for today. I hope that you are challenged to spread God's love to your neighbor today. And as always, my dear ones, God bless.